Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my review of the 2026 Midi Scale Venator. This 18 plus set number 75441, comes with 643 pieces. We've got the simple black box design. We've got a still from Revenge of the Sith on the back. This thing is going to be pretty cool, I think, but without any further ado, let's jump into it. There we go. So this set has been one that has been very hyped from this new 2026 wave. Obviously getting the Venator in a smaller factor than, well, the UCS Venator or something like that. Your other options to get a Venator at this point were either the UCS set or going back and buying the play set from back in the day that one doesn't look that good and two is obviously, I mean, it's secondhand prices now. It's probably a $400 set. So when this comes in at $80, even if it is overpriced for the set itself, it is now officially your cheapest avenue for getting a Venator shaped ship at this time. So we're going to go over this set front to back, look at everything that it has to offer, then we'll talk about whether or not the set is actually worth it, and how interesting it is that this set was dropped while the UCS is still on the shelves. From the front of the ship, we have a very simple front end, kind of just open. I mean, it just kind of comes to a point. Obviously, at this scale, you can't do too much there. Moving on back, though, we have decent greebling. I mean, there really isn't any for this first section here. It's just how it comes together. But honestly, the underside of the plates being up against each other kind of makes its own greebling, so it kind of works. Then we have the large front turrets represented here with just a clip bracket. As we move back a little further, we run into our first printed piece here, and Lego. Printing all the pieces on this set, okay, I'm begging for printed pieces all the time, so I'm not going to overshadow this. Every detail that could have been a sticker was printed on this set. Hats off. I love it. There's no stickers on the Midi Scale Venator. So we have the two logos right there, and as we move further back, we see the first bit of actual greebling, where we have a build that actually goes in and fills this gap. We then get to the side hangar bay doors, represented with this light blue clear piece. Moving up onto the top of the ship again, we have all four of the cannons represented here with just little bucket handles, which works pretty well, to be honest. Moving down along the side, more greebling using a blaster and some other grill pieces and stuff like that to fill in this gap, along with our second print. Now this print represents the stripes along the rear wing on the Venator, and they look fantastic as a print. Absolutely beautiful. I love the printing on this set. It's genuinely so awesome. If only this thing could have gotten that treatment. But if we move up here to the top of the Venator, we do have the two bridges represented, made out of 5 pieces? 6 pieces, okay? Each bridge is made out of 6 pieces. Super simple design, but it does exactly what it needs to. It represents those bridges, and I would say that it looks pretty good. Moving back to the back here, we have some more detail with these ingot pieces being used, along with some shaping that's been integrated. We then get the spine of the ship, which is pretty simply constructed. I mean, they get that shape pretty well with some bracket pieces and different things going on there. And when we get to the very rear, we have all of the engines represented. These are some pretty small builds. They crammed as much detail in there as I think they could have for something at this size, but we get the engines represented, and I think that they look pretty good as well. And on the back, we have these side pieces filled in with a sideways placed slope piece, and again, I think that those look very nice. So obviously a pretty well detailed set at its size. I mean, it's pretty hard to detail something of this size, but Lego crammed a lot in there, and I really like it. Moving to the stand, it's pretty simple here. We do have another print, Lego Star Wars Venator class attack cruiser. They have been printing all of those for a long time now, and it looks fantastic, officially rounding out all of the printed pieces in this set. Then we have the very basic stand that if you like building these Midi scale ships, you've built 100 times at this point. And it does come with these two little grill pieces. I think that they're really there just to break up the surface a little bit, but a lot of people like popping those off and putting a minifigure on there. And that is the full ship. So, to my opinion, I think the set looks fantastic, okay? For its size, to get a Venator, it's sleek, it looks right. I mean, you're not going to mistake this for anything else. We do get a different variant than we got with the previous UCS Venator. This is just a standard Venator with the fat stripe and the gray bridges. Very simple going on here. And I mean, we do have a good amount of detail crammed in here. The guns are represented. The engines are one of my favorite parts. I think that they represented those fantastic. We have printed pieces, which I'm always begging for, especially in these 18 plus sets, just to make them look as accurate as possible. So I really appreciate that. I mean, it's a good set, right? And if you're looking at it and you're kind of thinking about the price to piece, yeah, it's not perfect. $80 for 600 and some odd pieces is a little bit steep. It's not horrible, but it is pretty bad, especially for a set that doesn't come with minifigures. Now, I do want to take a second to talk about this because this is my opinion that's been kind of brewing. As I've built more and more of these Midi scale ships, I just really miss having a minifigure. UCS sets get at least 1 or 2 minifigures. I feel like on these 18 plus display sets, they could give us a minifigure. I feel like that's one of the biggest detractors from these sets, is just the fact that you don't get one, especially when they give you a place to put a minifigure. Like, you could put 2 minifigures here comfortably, but they don't do it, and I think that it's kind of interesting that they don't do it, because I think that it fits very well to have those minifigures there. But, I mean, as far as the set goes, I mean, you're getting prints, not stickers, which is fantastic. You're getting a really clean build, and for the money, I mean, you're getting a very, very good representation of the Venator without all of the size and cost of the other one on the shelf. Now, I want to briefly reference that. I am going to be making a full comparison video between the two, but I do want to make a quick reference to the fact that it's very odd to me that LEGO released this set the 1st of January. This being a 2026 set doesn't make a lot of sense to me in multiple ways. First of all, it would have made a lot more sense to reveal it. It would have made a lot more sense to release this set last year for the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Going to see that movie in theaters again was phenomenal, and if I could have walked out of the theater and walked into a Target and picked this up, I feel like that would have made so much sense. But they didn't do that, so that's obviously interesting. I mean, why didn't you just line it up with the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith? Like, that's such an obvious thing to do, but LEGO didn't do that. So instead of doing that, you know, maybe you wait until the UCS set retires. The UCS Venator is retiring at the end of 2026, if you don't know. So come January 1st of 2027, this would make perfect sense, right? You retire the UCS Venator, you roll out a smaller, cheaper Venator to give people still the ability to buy one, but also with that not on the shelf anymore, this comes in. And they didn't do that either. They released it at the beginning of the year that this is getting retired, and I obviously just got this. You can go on lego.com right now and put both of these Venators in your shopping cart at the same time and purchase them. It's very, very interesting that they would do this, and I was thinking back to a time, has LEGO ever had 2 of the same ship represented? LEGO doesn't really do this. They don't want to have 2 ships that are the same thing kind of conflicting with each other. And you would say, well, these are in completely different price brackets, so they're not conflicting with each other. $650, $80, how is that a conflict? And I would pose to you that it's a conflict because while they are at drastically different price points, they're targeting the same consumer. These are both 18 plus sets. This is not a play set, and that's a UCS set. This is a display 18 plus black box set, and this is a display 18 plus black box set. It's just bigger. And so, with that being the case, it makes the case for this very interesting in the market right now because it is just a smaller, cheaper alternative to the other thing on the shelf. So I think it's interesting that LEGO did that. I mean, obviously giving consumers a choice is very, very good, and the reaction to this set being so positive, I think, has come from the fact that there are a lot of people who can't drop $650 on a UCS set or don't have the space for a set of this size. And so this coming in and scratching that itch obviously is very, very nice to have. But again, it is just very interesting to me that they dropped this at the same time. It's not like the UCS AT-AT and a Playscale AT-AT being on the shelves at the same time. Like, yes, now you get a choice of which AT-AT you want, but one is targeted to kids and one is targeted to hardcore adults for $850. So a little bit different situation. Both of these sets are targeting adults, and I just find that this set's release time It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'm sure LEGO had their reasons. So, wish it had minifigures. Very odd timing for it to come out, but is this set at $80 a buy? I think this set is falling into the category of a lot of LEGO sets these days, especially these display sets that are coming with no minifigures. The resale value is not going to be insane because it is literally just the build. I mean, in this, you are really just paying for these printed pieces. Everything else could be brick built. So when it comes to it, I mean, is it a buy or is it not a buy? I think that this does fall into the category for me of something that most people should buy once it goes on a discount. If you're seeing this at $75, $70, $65, pick it up immediately because I do think that this is a fantastic representation of the Venator. Also, if you don't have the UCS Venator, there becomes more of a need for a Venator in your collection, and so I think that this also has more value to you. It all comes down to what you're comparing it to, right? If you're comparing this to the UCS set, you could buy about 7 of these for the price of that. But if you're comparing it to other Midi scale ships, to play scale sets, then the price per piece and stuff like that does become a little bit disproportionate. Now, you can justify it a little bit with the fact that it has prints instead of stickers, and that does go a long way for me. I've said for a while, LEGO add $5 to the price of every set, give us only prints, and I would be happy. So I stand by that. If that's what made this a little bit more expensive, then more power to you. So I think that this set is a definite buy. Everybody's saying it's a day one buy. Totally understand, and if you want to go pick this up, you definitely should. I am very much pleased with this Venator, and I'm very excited to display it in my collection next to the Invisible Hand. And I did want to just round out this video, after my opinion, with the opportunity to see this set next to a couple other Midi scale ships that are in the same kind of range with being prequels sets. So let me grab those. First of all, we have this paired with the Invisible Hand, which I think is just such an obvious pairing. I mean, the beginning of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith is obviously these two things duking it out, and so I think that that makes a lot of sense to have these next to each other. Again, I think it would have made a lot of sense for these to release in the same year, but I digress. They do look really good next to each other, about the same length. This one's a little bit shorter, and obviously the Venator is much chunkier, so anybody saying, they're the same size, they should be the same price. I know from building this, and just from seeing them next to each other, this is substantially less. Like piece and parts. It makes sense that this is 50 and this is 80, but these two look phenomenal next to each other, obviously, and that is exactly how I am going to be displaying them. But we have another one I want to compare, and that is the Midi scale Acclimator. So obviously the other Republic ship here coming in, and I was trying to figure out if these things are scaled to each other. The Acclimator is supposed to be about 66% the length of the Venator, and if we line these up, I feel like it's a bit more than that for sure. It's also very wide. I don't know that the Acclimator is supposed to be the same width as the Venator, but it is in this case. So I'm going to say that the Acclimator is actually to a larger scale than the Venator. I don't think that they're scaled to each other. But comparing them, they also look very good next to each other. The same color scheme, different shapes. I mean, obviously very nice. So there is the Venator with its kind of sister sets and how you kind of might want to display it on a shelf if you wanted that comparison. But that's it for my review of the Midi scale Venator. I think it is a great little set. I think that it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it looks very, very good. Definitely let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. I'm very curious to see your reaction to this new set. I will have a comparison video of this Venator and the UCS Venator coming out very, very soon. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for that. I think that that's going to be a lot of fun to just kind of compare them and their price points and everything about them. But again, this has been my review of the Midi scale Venator. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Peace!